Today I'm going to review and give my opinion on the comic I Think I'm Alone Now Part 1. I like the style of the cover, but I don't know what's in store. Looks like a dancing girl and a guy throwing a dog out a window. I'll give it this, it's different. I'm Alone Now, I Think I'm Alone Now Part 1, Art and Story by Vantius Frivolus. I don't think I like the title, I Think I'm Alone Now. It reminds me of that song, I Think We're Alone Now, which is about two young teens about to get naked. But the credit page is good. Page 2, well, the art doesn't fill the page. Can't help feel the artist doesn't have enough material to fill the page. My tip, include a background that fills the page, just like the backdrop in a play or movie or TV show. Fill the reader's eyes. On page 3, I can tell right now the art is very good. The style of the background characters being one color works fantastically well. Page 4. 1965 is the year. I feel more needs to be done to scream 1965. For example, if a stranger happened to walk by this page in real life and give it a glance, that person should be able to deduce it's from the 1960s. If it wasn't for the year of the text, this could be any year. Also, ease up on the glowing white text. Hard to read and jarring. This page is a lot of work to get people to know it's a club, and it has one-word IDs. Again, the art is very sharp. If I was to edit what I've seen so far, we don't need to see the two characters hand the tickets and then go into the club. I would have combined it with the previous page of them handing tickets at the door and include conversation to both progress the story and demonstrate their characters. Like, "Hey Bill, can't wait to see the swingin' Laura. Thanks for coming. Johnny, I hate these shows, but as you know, I have issues with Laura, but I'm doing you a favor, and this time I want it paid back. I don't know what the story is, but this is just, I'm guessing. I don't know who these characters are yet." Page 6, Laura dancing. This does not advance the story. This image could have been combined with another panel. She could have actually been on stage and the two characters could be conversing to each other. This would save you both art drawing and move the story forward for the reader. Page 7. This page could be called the wait a minute page. Laura's dancing and a guy has one thought and it's an entire page. I love the angle. I love the close-up of the bottle, the lighting, and the artwork. Page 8. Okay, the two characters talking, but they could be using their names. The reader needs to start identifying the characters and getting a feel for who they are. When the reader finishes the story, they should be able to do the following. Describe the important characters without having to name them, or describing their physical characteristics or their job. They should be able to identify who is who by personality traits alone. On this page, I only know two names, Laura and Derek, but I don't even know the people saying those names. People are going to get confused fast. Plus, this does not need to be two panels, just one. Page 9. This conversation is now broken up into two pages. He starts off with, "That weird poor kid." I had to turn back for it to make sense. The "no way" is intruding into the second box. I read this before the blind guy's response. This is confusing. Page 10. Great art, but why the ha ha ha? What does it mean to the blind guy? If I was going to give this some pizzazz, I would have her giving him a look out of the corner of her eye, maybe a little annoyed, or maybe seducing. And the blind guy should be seen with a smile. Picture this. He's holding his hand over his mouth, covering his smile. And then maybe you see the corners of his mouth eke out that he can't cover. And you can tell she sees that because now she has a scowl while she's dancing. Quick conclusion. Your panels have to tell the story without the words. The words should tell the story of what the characters are communicating. On with the review. Here she's angry with her boss. We should see her face filled with rage. Maybe we should be slamming the table with a fist, and the $5 that is flat on the table gets elevated into the air. Tip. He mentions Holly and Summer, but on the table we see Cindy and Jen. These pictures could be Holly and Summer, which would rub salt in her wounds. Also, let's see who her manager is. What's his name? Have her call his name, and have her include an insult, like, $5? Mr. Keaton, what is this? They don't call you Cheatin' Keaton for nothing. Plus, he's drinking water. Could he be drinking expensive water? Does he have high taste? Or some cheap soda? Or some crazy whiskey? His desk is an opportunity to make him more interesting by eyes alone. On page 12, if we had her expression of anger on the previous page, we could skip one of these panels. However, if you stuck with these two panels, there's an opportunity to make it interesting. Change the expression on Keaton, cheatin', Keaton, eatin'. Maybe the second panel should have him mockingly shrugging his shoulders, and maybe he's holding a picture of a younger stripper and pointing to it. Okay, Laura's driving home. A little jarring, jumping from the office to her car with Derek in the car. I think there's an opportunity to contrast her day life with her night life. I would have her out of makeup and dress more in contrast. We should also see Derek's face. Remember, first impressions are everything. Unless you're going to symbolize symbolically to never show his face first thing. Page 14, the conversation's okay, expresses what's need to be expressed. Page 15. I would have made the conversation a little more interesting. Like, have a good day at school, Derek. Mumble, mumble. What's that, hon? Everything okay? Nothing, Mom. Everything's fine. That's great to hear, hon. See you later. I'll be home on time for dinner, Mom. Oh, don't wait up. Working late again. Everything's just fine. And Derek slams the car and storms off. That would speak volumes. Seeing the group of people together who I think are bullies is okay. Builds tension and ends the page perfectly. I don't know why the girls should stand out as much as the two boys. I would put the girls behind the two. The school sign is too small. Doesn't look like a school. I would have drawn a large standalone school sign with kids that looked like students hanging around it. A school bus or two would convey the school as well. Page 16. Okay. Now we see these two guys are the ones from last night. I had no idea until it was all put together. This is like solving an uninteresting mystery. I would have had these two kids talking about how they snuck into a strip bar last night before Derek arrived. I think these nameless buds need a little more physical characteristics, like a unique pair of glasses, a small scar, a unique hairdo, a large nose, a chain around the neck. Is one religious? Does one like an anka, a beauty mark? Page 17. The exposure of Mom at the club is good, but the paper pamphlet is poorly designed. Her name should be blasted in large letters, maybe across the bottom, maybe across her bottom, and maybe have her pose in a real ridiculous manner so she looks less dignified. Since he has multiple copies, there should be at least one student holding one, looking at it and laughing. Let's punch Derek right in the gut with humiliation. The second page has a laughter I was just talking about, but in my opinion it's a little late. I think it would hit the reader harder for it to be right there in your face, in Derek's face. Okay, a panel of a ringing bell and two of him walking is kind of plain. I would have a large panel of him walking to class, head low, like he's traversing a dark forest, and his imagination is showing monsters of ridicule, and maybe a tear in his eye. Page 19. Okay, I don't know who Jake Miller is, and I don't know who sprayed it. He should have gave Jake a nickname about banging animals, like Jake bangs snakes. Call him Jake the Snake Banger, something like that. The nickname can be used as a weapon for excitement later. Okay, it looks like Derek sprayed the wall, but we should see him holding a can. Also, we should put some symbolism in here. Jake's hand should be covered in black paint, like he can't wash his hands of this sin. But if you wanted only one panel, put this thought balloon at the previous page. The lower panel seems to be a waste. It's a picture of a house. If it's Derek's house, show him walking in. This would convey it's his house and he left school. Otherwise, it's just his house or a house. So now we're in Derek's room. It's okay, we don't know what he's writing, but he has bare walls. This is a golden opportunity to see his interest. Put posters up of what he likes. Put shelves up of awards he may have won. Give him a lamp of his personal choice, or an old crappy one to convey they are poor. Put a picture of his mom that shows he loves her, or a picture of her with a cracked frame or glass to show he doesn't really care to fix it. That would also symbolize a crack in the relationship. The reader should be learning about Derek at every opportunity. Cool, he is entering a writing contest. His favorite writers and stories should be on the walls. No need to see him walking down the hall, unless you want to convey what it's like them living together. Put some empty beer bottles in the hall. Maybe make it dirty and a vacuum cleaner in the corner to display her laziness and dirtiness. Okay, you see her in full makeup with beer and cigarettes. I'd make the makeup smudged and the hair a little messy. Page 24, a whole page to display his disappointment. I would have combined this with the previous page. Show him walking happy, that he's submitting his story. Then when he stumbles upon his mom on the couch, show him sad, holding the paper sagging, shoulders slumped. The cleanup isn't bad, but I think one big panel could be more effective than two. Maybe use the bottom panel only and have him eating a meal in the background in the kitchen, and the black silhouette. The reader will figure out that he cleaned it and put a blanket on her. Plus, he has to feed himself. Skipping to submission. These are all good panels, that ones I am skipping. Boom, boom, boom. I'll save some mystery for the people to buy it. So now, he's going to submit his story at the New Haven Ink. All these signs need a little help. I just realized it was New Haven Ink. I don't know where he went. I didn't care to look up where he went. The fighting was a good scene, which I skipped. I wish this had the setup of him telling the reader he's going to submit his story. Let the reader feel the enjoyment. When he talks to the secretary, I'd let her give him more of a hard time. Make her adamant that she cannot accept it. It has to be mailed and he's too late. But then let him talk her into it. Let the reader feel he's stuck, but then overcomes this obstacle. No reason to convey that she thinks it's a strange day. We didn't see her day beforehand, so it's a waste to read. Maybe better say, what a strange boy. That's his bait. Now we're going to skip to the girl in the bed. So he's in bed with nothing, and then magically this hand appears, and to the reader you'd think somebody just hold his hand. Could it be his mom? No, that ain't his mom. And look how odd her face looks at him. It's perfect. This is the best part of the comic by far. You can see she's floating next to him and they are holding hands. This is the first time I have ever seen something like this in a comic, and it almost gives you chills. I cannot speak enough about this. This maybe should be the cover. No, and she talks to him. This is good stuff. And I have to think she's a figment of his imagination. We're going to go right to the library. Okay, the top panel, we don't need to see him returning the books. It's actually confusing because the lower scene, he looks like he's still in line, and behind him it almost looks like he's looking out the window. I'd make it look more like he just left the library and then have this scene. And then the woman should scream, eek, and he should be like, oh no, that dog's going to get hit. And the final ending is going to end with this cliffhanger. A dog jumps off. So in conclusion, I was pretty hard on this review. Before Vantius Frivolus comes to my house and kicks my ass, I'm going to explain a few things. First, Vantius demanded I be honest, and I was. I didn't see anything that was bad at all. In fact, there is a lot of good in this effort. The artwork is top notch. These are professional comic art. Well, there are professional comic artists that aren't this good. The drawings are consistent, colorful, and it works. The scene with the floating woman was the best part for me. I have to guess it was someone from his imagination in some way, and if that's the case, this is genius. Note to Vantius: resurrect this concept in your later work until you get noticed. I felt I was honest enough. Most scenes can be a bit more condensed. Character development needs to be a bit more attention. There is a lot of tightening in this story that can be done. I think you could save yourself a bit of artwork if you just tighten it up and give us 2 or 3 more drafts. You know, it's nice to see a story without guns or superheroes or superpowers. It's actually refreshing, and it did not feel derivative at all. There's a good story in here somewhere. It just needs some help. Would I buy the next issue? No, not for me at this point. I didn't know enough about the characters, what book he wrote, or if the dog was worth saving. I guess he was trying to achieve getting his story published. Was that the conflict? I don't know. But it ends with the dog going off a bridge. The story needs the following: character arcs. I did not see Derek really have a character arc. He's the same from the start to the end. The conflict to be resolved, I don't know. Get his story published? He submitted it, and then the dog jumped off a bridge. This needs more setbacks and overcoming. His mother got ridiculed at school, and he spray painted and left school. It didn't really accomplish anything. Maybe this conflict should be he couldn't end his story and the deadline was coming. There's a lot of possibilities. I think the title, I Think I'm Alone Now, has to do with that floating woman. There isn't enough of this concept to justify the title. I would have her voice talk to him throughout the story, like, ask your mom this question, or don't do the spray paint, or do the spray paint. I would put her words in boxes in a purple background with a special font. Then, when we see her, a mystery is solved. But that's just me. Maybe that's been done too much? This is what you get when you ask for an honest review. Here are my final thoughts. Vantius can draw. Vantius has a good imagination. Vantius has talent but needs to develop more. Vantius should never quit if this is his passion. And as I do this review, I also notice something. Vantius has a good eye for his angles. His artwork is not boring. He mixes, it just doesn't look flat. It looks like any other comic. It's very good, and that's a high compliment. Now, that's the end of this review. Would you like your work reviewed? Contact me and you'll get it. Honestly. Snarf Maxx. See you later.